I am Jana Prophet Davis. Welcome to my Paws and Prize YouTube channel. I'm excited to present you conversations with breeders and owners of top winning dogs, top owner handlers, top junior handlers, accomplished professional handlers, and other people that you may find informative and interesting concerning top dogs in their fields. Today I am happy to introduce to you Michelle Nam. This episode is going to focus on her history, why she got interested in a purebred Tibetan Mastiff, what research did she do, and how did she find a reputable breeder, a preservation breeder, and why is that so important? How she made her decision of what breeder to choose, what did she do to learn to train and show her own dog, what training goes into a new puppy from the start, and how she socialized her new puppy. We're going to see some video clips of her Champion Noble Legacies My Friend Zaya, owned by Michelle Nam, Brad Jackson, and Ferris Jackson. I am sure you will enjoy this heartfelt conversation with a newbie and welcome her into our community. So first, I'd like to introduce Champion Noble Legacies My Friend Zaya. Zaya is a litter mate to Jana's dog, Champion Noble Legacy Swan Song. The dogs both have Tibetan call names. That's the name that we call them day to day. Zaya means woman who wins. Jana's dog is called Arya, and that means noble in Tibetan. The first thing that we do before we start grooming our dog is we want to make sure that we throw a little air on them to loosen any debris or fur that might keep us from being able to wash them as easily. We use the forced air dryer, and then we put the dog in the tub. I use a self-serve grooming station at my local groomers and do a double wash with Chris Christensen's Fair Advantage shampoo and conditioner. The most important thing when you're washing your dog is to make sure that you rinse thoroughly. Leftover shampoo can cause skin irritation as well as break the hair. These dogs in particular don't have the doggy odor. Part of that is due to the very, very thick, coarse outer coat. This time of year in the spring, the dogs blow their winter coat, and that's the only time we see shedding from this breed. That helps keep them insulated against all the harsh elements that they would experience in their native Himalayan mountains. Once Zaya has had a bath, she had her bath yesterday, when I'm ready to take her out to do her social calls, to go to training, to do any of the things that she likes to do, we give her a quick blowout with a forced air dryer and no heat. I'm going to show you that, and that dryer is kind of loud, so I'm going to caution you, you may want to turn your device down a little bit. One of the things that you'll notice while I'm blowing Zaya out, sometimes she wants to lean into me a little bit, so I make sure I have my hand on her at all times. She's also secured with a grooming loop to the arm that's attached to the table. You can find a lot of different grooming tables, whether at your local pet supply, online, or if you have a wonderful friend who will make one for you, like Jana made me mine, then you're even luckier. So the next thing we're going to do after we give Zaya her little blowout is we use a good quality brush. I'm a fan of Chris Christensen's hybrid brush. It's got a long enough, this is a 38 millimeter pin brush. It's long enough that it can actually go all the way through that coat. She blew her coat over the last few weeks, and we finished that up for the most part yesterday. Outside of blowing their coat once a year, Tibetan Mastiffs don't shed. They also don't smell doggy. That's due to the insulating properties of this double coat. It keeps them cool in the summer and warm in the winter. It also repels dirt and debris. And I don't know if you can see, but Zaya has an exceptional mane for a female Tibetan Mastiff puppy. She's only 15 months old, so she's not full grown yet. Zaya, wait.
So they don't have dander like a lot of other dogs.
Exactly. Part of that is because of that wonderful hair with its repelling properties. Part of that is because they have more oil in their skin, so you're not as likely to have that messy doggy powder that you see from so many breeds. Our golden retriever doesn't have half the hair that Zaya has, and he's responsible for 98% of the shedding in our house. We almost never see anything from Zaya outside of that yearly coat blowing. One of the things that we recommend before you get started with showing or owning a Tibetan Mastiff or any breed is to take them to a good obedience instructor. We take Zaya to Broken Arrow's Canine Manners and More, where she trains with proprietor and trainer Kim Sykes. Kim has helped Zaya achieve many things in her young life. She is an AKC Star Puppy, an AKC Novice Trick Dog, and has her AKC Canine Good Citizen Certificate. On top of that, she's a champion, so we consider her to be a well-balanced dog. Obedience is incredibly important for any breed, for their safety, for your enjoyment, for people who come over and are going to enjoy your home with your dog in it. And we also want to make sure that when we get into the show ring, that your dog, especially a big dog like this, is going to be easy to handle. I actually had a reason to be very happy that our dogs are well trained in obedience earlier today. My Shih Tzu got out of the yard, and if he hadn't been aware of his manners, we might have lost him, but he came when he was called.
I noticed when I knocked on the door, they greeted me at the door, but they didn't jump up and they didn't bark.
Nope.
And they didn't cause a big fuss. They did want my attention.
Yes.
But it was nice coming into the house and not being accosted by dogs.
Thank you. We feel that especially when you have a large dog and you have friends who are going to visit your house, everybody is happier if the dogs don't jump up on you. This dog, when she's on her hind feet, is taller than I am. We don't want any injuries. We don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable in our home, and we want our dogs to always show good manners. So obedience, even if you only do a single obedience class with a puppy, is really important. One of the things you may notice is that I'm working through Zaya's mane backwards. That'll help it stand up and be fluffy, which is what we want in the show ring. These dogs are most noted for their big mane. That helps them not only with the severe conditions in the Himalayas, but it also helps them as they do their job as guardians and chase off predators or unwanted human visitors.
And why do they have such a thick mane in the Tibetan environment?
These dogs can come up across wolves, tigers, all kinds of terrifying things, snow leopards. Obviously, when a predator is going to seek to take down an adversary, it goes for the jugular. Her jugular, really hard to find if you're a wolf or a tiger. We've actually seen these dogs out in the wild take on packs of wolves. 3 of them can take on a Siberian tiger. They're incredibly fierce, but they're not trying to kill their adversaries. Their goal is to chase them off and keep the people and animals that they're guarding safe.
Or to warn that something is coming. That's why they bark.
Absolutely. Tibetan Mastiffs in particular are used at the Tibetan monasteries in conjunction with Tibetan Spaniels, Tibetan Terriers, Lhasa Apsos, and Shih Tzus. The small dogs are placed up on the walls where they can walk a perimeter. If they see something that isn't right, the little dogs sound the alarm. You may notice sometimes those little dogs are considered yappy. There's a reason. They sound the alarm. They're big friends. can rouse themselves and come and take care of anything that might threaten the monastery. We've actually seen our dogs do that just instinctively, and it's really interesting to watch.
So generally, do they just lay around all day long?
Most of them, yes. Zaya is a little more energetic than your typical Tibetan Mastiff, as you can see from the high energy she's displaying here. Yeah, as far as being a house dog, these are fantastic if you want a low energy companion. They're incredibly smart. They do need to have something to keep them occupied, whether you're using natural Himalayan yak cheese chews, water buffalo horns, or maybe a star-marked chew treat. There are lots of ways to keep the dogs from wreaking havoc on your furniture, your walls, your doors, or whatever else they can get their teeth into. It's all about time management for these guys. When you see the dog going towards something it shouldn't, redirection, not punishment, is the key. They have long memories, and you're really depending on trust to have a great relationship with these dogs.
Or stand her up and show me how she compares to the standard.
Breed standard? Wait means stay where you are, I'll be back in a minute. This is an important skill for the dog to learn, not only so they don't go rushing out a door if it's open, but also so that you can effectively manage their time and their expectations. Zaya doesn't weigh as much as she looks like she weighs. She only weighs about 76 pounds. A lot of what you're seeing is fur. This is a snake chain show collar from Chris Christensen. You notice we have it in a P. That's how we put it on. This collar's a little big for the show ring. I use this when we take Zaya on her social visits. Appropriately, the collar should snug beneath her chin, behind her ears. That allows her to receive my physical cues without choking. When you're stacking your dog properly, you never move its front feet forward. Front feet move back. They should be placed squarely with the shoulders.
But if you're stacking her on the ground, you would be moving it by the elbow, right?
Correct. I just can't reach the elbow
Yeah.
because I'm really
Got
short.
it.
Now, if you'll notice, Zaya's feet are exactly perpendicular to her shoulders, below her chest. Boop, boop. Now, Zaya normally stacks herself when we're in the show ring. That does not come naturally to most dogs. What are you doing?
That was almost the infamous Tibetan Mastiff bow.
And that is a fun trick. Zaya actually used the bow on command as one of her tricks when she was getting her AKC Novice Trick Dog certification. Zaya is 15 months old. At 18 months, females in the Tibetan Mastiff world need to reach 24 inches at their withers, and that's basically where their shoulders are. Zaya is 23 7/8 inches, so she's almost there, which is fine because she's still growing. Neatly groomed, cat-like appearance to the feet. Tail should curl up one time over the back. Zaya, I need you to stand, sweetheart.
Is the tail an important part of the standard?
The tail is one of the most important parts of the standard. The tail and the mane are one of the things that show these dogs to great advantage and help discern the breed from other guardian breeds.
So as it comes off of the croup, it needs to be at the right place.
Correct.
For it to curl once over the back.
Exactly.
And be erect without
Exactly.
throwing her angulation off.
Precisely. The
Okay.
angulation is this space right here. You don't want this to be too prominent or it throws the dog's gait off. The dog should be level over the spine, should have substantial mass, bone and muscle. The difference in the breed characteristics can vary. The coloring can go anywhere from a coppery gold to a light gold with sabling, pure black, or black with tan markings. There's also a blue variation. The dog should have brown eyes. Gray is okay if it's a blue. That square muzzle, and if you look at this dog's eyes, she looks smart, doesn't she? They should have a wise, kind look. These dogs characteristically are reserved around strangers, not aggressive unless they're defending their territory or the things and people they're guarding. One of the reasons we really recommend early socialization is so that the dogs do not become a threat when we don't want them to be. And obviously, if we've got kids coming over, the mailman, we don't want somebody to get eaten.
So when they're puppies, like all puppies do, they mouth people. They mouth you, that's...
Sure.
They're like all puppies.
Like all puppies.
Why is it important for a Tibetan Mastiff to learn not to put their teeth on people?
Because when these dogs get big, you can't stop them. These dogs have a great capacity for not only pulling, but also for biting. If you have an accident with a golden retriever, it may not be a big deal. If you have an accident with a Tibetan Mastiff, it can result in long-term injury or death. We want these dogs to be maintained responsibly, and that means that we have to train them from the time they're young, that we do not put our mouth on people ever. When we are playing, Zaya knows not to grab me with her mouth. She has learned this from a very young age. We never did puppy play where biting was acceptable. Now, we don't spank the puppy. We, just like if there's something she's decided to chew on that's inappropriate, we redirect her. We give her praise when that redirection is instant. And soon, because these dogs are so smart, soon they learn that it's not acceptable to ever use their mouth on a person or another animal.
This episode is brought to you by the best supplement that I have ever found, Rough Greens. It includes 15 powerful probiotics, 20 digestive enzymes, 20 essential vitamins and minerals, omega oils 3, 6, and 9, and great joint support ingredients. A good link to this is www.rawfednutrition.com. It blends beautifully if you feed raw food, but helps even more extensively if you are feeding kibble. That is www.rawfednutrition.com. Please go to this link and you will be able to get a free sample if you pay shipping and packaging cost of around $9. You won't be sorry.